All right, guys, can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
All right. All right. Well, I wanted to welcome everyone today, faculty and students, to culminating moment of our journey, the final presentation. Finally, your dedication and intellect have fueled this transformative experience, and tonight we eagerly anticipate the brilliance that we will unfold as we showcase the fruits of our collective efforts. So here is our team. Stanley Paul, he was the lead. He has a background. He has graduated from Northeastern in MBA, and he is a Bostonian, just like myself. I'm Bostonian. I have absolutely no background in technology at all. I have been working in the hospitality industry for a long time. In a leadership role, but I finally wanted to make a move and learn something new, and I think this was an opportunity for me, and I appreciate that. So scoping and rules of engagement. We conducted a server reconnaissance to assess potential entry points and vulnerabilities. We identified and exploit potential weaknesses in crypto brokers, authentication protocols, and data encryption practices. We attempted to gain unauthorized access to the network, escalating privileges to assess vulnerabilities in protected segments and internal hosts. Prepared two comprehensive reports, executive for a high-level stakeholders and a technical report detailing vulnerabilities and recommended remediation measures. Present findings to the CISO emphasizing critical vulnerabilities and proposed security enhancements. Highlight weaknesses in the current authentication protocols for immediate attention and improvement. Evaluate and recommend enhancements to data encryption practices to ensure a robust defense against potential threats. So this is the process and methodology that we followed. Assessment process, reconnaissance and vulnerability detection, which initiates with detailed scanning and research, followed by automated testing for known vulnerabilities and manual exploitation to identify security weaknesses. Automated testing for security flaws. After fully enumerating the target, utilizes vulnerability scanning tools and manual analysis to identify and verify security flaws. Exploration, escalation, and reporting identifies application vulnerabilities, focuses on escalation once sensitive access is obtained, and concludes with a detailed analysis and threat report, providing comprehensive remediation steps. In this report, we have executive summary, strategic strength and weaknesses, identified vulnerabilities and risk ratings, detailed risk remediation steps, assets and data compromised during the asset. So this is our executive summary. Our team performed a penetration test of crypto broker web application. The following chart shows the count of findings by risk for this report, from critical to informational. Based on these findings in this report, we have evaluated what will be the overall risk to the crypto broker as high. In the course of our thorough examination, we unearthed critical vulnerabilities within crypto brokers' Apache server, posing a severe risk that extends beyond compromising customer funds to potential full site control by malicious actors. Swift and decisive measures are imperative. Updating Apache to the latest version fortifying OpenSSH through a combination of updates, meticulous configurations, and strategic network segmentation, and rigorously implementing multi-factor authentication. These proactive steps, complemented by heightened monitoring capabilities, are pivotal for an urgent and robust security fortification, safeguarding both assets and the integrity of the entire platform. These weaknesses are very concerning and, if leveraged, would decrease the security and usability of the web application. Penetration software, the tools that were utilized, WAF, firewall detection, Nmap for network discovery and sniffing. We used Nikto, which is a web server vulnerability scanner. Doorbuster is also a great tool to find those hidden directories and files. And we use Zap for a vulnerability scanner. So first thing first, we wanted to find out if there's any firewall to this website. So as you can see in this picture right here, there was no firewall detected. And this is a great tool to do so. So it's very important for us to detect if we are dealing with any firewall, just because we wanted to find out that our data that we are sending is not blocked while scanning. So most of the pen testers would forget this step. So remembering firewall represents the first line of defense against outside intrusion. A web server can prevent unauthorized access, data theft, and malicious attacks to your website. Next tool that we used was Nmap Network Mapper. And we used this type of script on this to scan it. You can see the scanner on the right-hand side. And with this type of tool, we were able to scan a lot of information about this website. There were 2 ports open, as you can see, 22 and port 80 HTTP. And we were able to identify some other vulnerabilities, cross-site request forgery, and then we had some weak encryption algorithm. What is basically cross-site request forgery is an attack that forces an end user to execute unwanted actions on a web application in which they are currently authenticated. With a little help of social engineering, such as sending an email, a link via an email or a chat, an attacker may trick the users of a web application in executing actions of the attacker's choosing. So if the victim is normal user, a successful CSRF attack can force the user to perform state-changing requests like transferring funds, changing their email address, and so forth. If the victim is an administrative account, the CSRF can compromise the entire web application. The other was the weak encryption algorithm, which is like a cryptographic algorithm that provides inadequate security against attacks. Here are some examples of weak encryptions. An attacker can easily perform a brute force attack to crack the key and decrypt the message. Also in here, we did find default credentials, which is not mentioned here. But the default credentials are a simple and extremely common way to get initial access to a system. Many devices come with a default, like a non-random passwords that can often are left unchanged. And it's an easy access for an attacker to use those default credentials. Then we used a Nikto scanner, and in this scan, we found some admin directories, Apache server, which is outdated. We did find some directory indexing discovered, web publisher, and admin login page. So those were the stuff that we discovered with the Nikto. In the directory indexing, just wanted to explain a little bit what it is. The directory indexing is when a directory listing of files is displayed in a browser instead of an actual web page. This happens when a URL resolves to a directory that does not contain a default file. So this action allows the contents of unintended directory listing to be discovered to the user because of software vulnerabilities, combined with like specific web request. The information leak can provide an attacker with information necessary to launch further attacks against the system. We had a web publisher here too, which is basically all the tools that are provided to organize a blog or a website. So this should be disabled on all the websites. The other thing we found was the admin login page. We can prevent admin login page like to have an unauthorized access by having like a strong password or like a two-factor authentication, um, or we can update software or plugins and that kind of stuff. So that will help not have this admin login page appear on the website. Uh, while we had that, we were able to discover, some folders here with the Nikto PHP admin login page. You can see it here right on the right hand side. So the default credentials that we discovered on the web page before, we were able to log in into into the admin page right here with and these are like default credentials that were used in there. So you can see here on the right-hand side, we were able to access some of the folders and the files and the directories. We had a credit cards, cryptocurrency, user information right here, and login users with the IDs and passwords that we have blocked them off. With that credentials, we were able to log in into, so you can see in this slide, you can see that we were able to access the admin account on the crypto broker website. And we used the credentials which were available to us in the previous slide as login ID and the password. And you can see here on the bottom, we have all the information, the balance, like Bitcoins, Ethereum, all the information that is in that account. This is another account that we were able to access. So this is just a screenshot of it. You can see we were able to access user IDs, email addresses, residence, when this person has joined from with this account. So this was a lot of information which we were able to discover. As you can see, with this phpMyAdmin, we were able to actually access the database server. All the information right here on the right-hand side, you can see, what version that it's running in, which is, so the database is running on 20.04, which is an older version. Currently, the new version is 22.04. And next one, the web server, you can see the Apache. It's an old version that it's running on. The newer version is 2.55, 2.5.54. And the PHP MyAdmin is also an older version, which is 4.95, and the new one is 5.21. So this slide gives a lot of information about what is running on the website and what is outdated. And we went to the OWASP Turbuster, which is a free tool available in the Kali. So this one actually goes deep. It goes and finds the hidden directories and files, which you won't be able to find with other tools. But this was a great tool for us to find out what we discovered. So so here you can see it on the right hand side. We were able to get all these files and folders. And I just want to point out what, and under the response section right here, what the 200 or 403 means. That, basically the 200 means that the HTTP response was successful, and a 403 has an error. So we are looking at all the ones which is under the 200 mark right here. So we were able to locate some directories which you would not be able to see. So to move over to the next step. And with that, OWASP Dirtbuster, we were able to access the root directory of this web page, which is basically, if you have the root directory, you basically own the crypto broker, this website. So here's the information. This slide it shows all the information after we were logged into the root account, which is basically a super user account. All the privileges right here. We're able to access everything in here. We were able to modify the databases, and we have full administration level control on in the root base right here. So this was tremendous to have this information available to change anything in the website. Stanley, you next.
All right. So now that we've shown everything that's wrong with the site, all the vulnerabilities, all the flaws, let's talk about how we can make the site more secure. The biggest problem with this particular site is that it was running outdated software. And not just one, but almost everything, every important tools that the site was using is outdated. And hackers love that kind of website because it's rich. It's not only it allows you to steal users' information, you can actually take over the company or bankrupt the company if you so wish. And the other problem is that it's not only bad for the company. One of the things that bulge in the show, one of the slides shows that the user information. So basically, knowing that exactly when the user joined the site, their email address and so forth, you can use that information to contact the user and mine more information and even get access to other applications or other repositories or any other assets that the user is using, including their bank information and so forth. So our biggest recommendation that we detail in our technical report is regular update for everything that they are used, from the web server application to the protocol, SSH and HTTP, to the tools that they're using to manage their databases. So the biggest takeaway is make sure that you're not using outdated software and be on top of that. Next slide. In our technical report, we also make specific recommendations. Beside updating, one of the biggest flaws in that platform is that there's no network segmentation. Once you get in, you can move sideways and different directions and get access to almost everything. they pretty much keep all their eggs in one basket, which is a big no-no for cybersecurity. They need to practice defense in depth and segregate their network. For example, one of the recommendations to make is to have a DMZ, a demilitarized zone, to separate network internet-facing application from internal applications. There are certain applications that no one on the internet should be able to easily have access to. And by not segregating, they make this a hacking-rich environment. So they have to take the time and implement network segregation to avoid keeping everything in one location. Next slide. Another recommendation we make is to monitor so that their website, because one of the manual techniques that we use is we try to manually see what they were using, send some commands, try manually and automatically as well, some username and password. But because the website itself, it doesn't have any monitoring, we just kept going at it. Somebody needs to be minding the store. Somebody. There are lots of free tools available that are open source that can be used, that are very robust, that can be used for that kind of to apply monitoring to the application. And some of it does things automatically and you don't need someone to sit there watching everything. They will send alert if there is something that the application cannot resolve. So for example, if there are lots of logging attempts, failed logging attempts, you have application that can automatically block that IP address to not allow more attempts. But if it's something different, something that needs human eyes, they can send alert and the administrator can go in and take a look. This side doesn't have any of that available and implemented on the side. So that needs to be instituted to give even more protection to the web application. Next slide. Now, in conclusion, what we did is we used various tools to penetrate the network to see if we could elevate our privileges, and we were very successful at it. We were able to discover old application, outdated application with flaws. Just between OpenSSH and Apache server, we discovered more than 20 CVEs that were ready to be exploited. They were exploited for all of them. So the three biggest recommendations we made in our technical report is to make sure they update, to make sure that they segment their network, and to make sure that they have robust monitoring. In our work, our engagement was to do a penetration testing and to find what was wrong or to find vulnerabilities. And we find many that were critical. And we have compiled a lengthy report for crypto broker to look and start implementing those remediation measures to make their site more secure, not only for the company, but also for their customers. We would also like to mention that if you do know that of any company that have needs for a good cybersecurity team, contact CyberWarrior Academy, because they have been training superb cybersecurity analysts for years now, and they can put you in touch with a dedicated professional that can help turn your platform and your company into an impregnable fortress against hackers. Thank you for your attention.